I got one. Okay. Should I just start talking when we go live?
Well, I'll tell you when you start viewing. There you are, you're on. Well, there's a delay in this. Let's wait for it to populate, so it's just about 3 now.
Okay. You want me to go and introduce myself and all that stuff?
Start playing a little bit, just hang out. I'll stop it when there's a couple people there.
Somebody on?
Hello, Stacy. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Hey, Stacy.
Which camera is this that you're on?
I guess that's camera. That's camera 1.
I got it on. Isn't that amazing? Let me go back to this switcher. How about that one?
We're good so far.
How are you, Stacy? You can hear me. She says, hi, Jason.
Hello, Stacy. Thank you for tuning in today.
Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Don't say hello to me. Say hello to Jason.
Hi, guys. Thank you for tuning in today. I got a nice lesson for all you guys. Just waiting for a couple people to get on, and
We're a few minutes early.
yeah, we're a little early, so we'll hang out for just a second and chat. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Matt's gonna kind of conduct everything.
Anyway, can you guys hear me? And you can hear Jason, you can see Jason. Can you hear me? No? Robert.
Hey, Robert. Guys, let me know if you can hear me and Matt or just me. I have a lav mic on here. Matt should be coming through as well, so just...
They said hi, Jason.
Hi, guys.
All right. Well, we're going to wait about 2 or 3 more minutes.
Yeah.
We should populate this somewhat, okay? And when we do, Jason will take over the mic. As soon as, who's this, Paul?
Can you guys hear Matt?
Yeah,
I don't know if you can hear Matt. Matt's got a mic like mine, lav mic like mine.
Which one were you on?
Camera 1.
No, the mic.
Oh, 6.
Hit it up a little bit.
Talk for a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing. How about now, guys? Can you hear me better?
Matt now?
They can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, you hear me clear, but you don't really hear Matt? If Matt says something, I'll repeat what he says so that you guys can hear it just in case.
That's because I'm old.
Matt's looking good. He's got
Yeah.
the braid in the back. Oh, yeah. Fancy.
Now they can hear me loud and clear with
Oh, yeah, good.
Okay, so okay, we're going to have Jason take over the mic. Jason's going to explain actually what's going to happen, because Jason plays some whacked out stuff that's unbelievable. I'm going to be sitting here taking a lesson. So, we're all going to take a good lesson. I'm trying to get the PDFs on the screen, so bear with me. In the meantime, Jason is going to demonstrate whatever he wants. What's that? He? Okay. Whatever you want to do, it's all yours, Jason.
Great. Well, first of all, Matt, thank you for having me. And guys,
Well, you could pay me when you get leave.
yeah, I mean, I owe him a lot. I owe him a kidney. You're not gonna. I'm gonna end up in a bathtub with ice after this. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in today, and I want to thank Matt for having me. We're both Jersey boys, so we live pretty close to each other, and it's taken a while for us to get together. So it's really great that we were finally able to make this happen. I also want to reach out to everybody and sincerely hope that everybody's healthy and well during this crazy time, because it just is a crazy time that we're all living in, and the music business is really suffering because of it. But it's programs like these that keep things alive, and the ability to be able to kind of get in your living rooms. I thank people like Matt for that. So this is a good day here. Happy Sunday to everybody. Well, Matt and I were speaking a couple weeks ago when we were deciding to do this he said, you know, what topic would you want to touch on? I said, I could touch on anything. And about a couple years ago, Matt and I met for the first time at a clinic that we both did, or that I did, excuse me, at Glenn Weber's drum shop. And if Glenn's listening, hello, he was my teacher growing up. And I gave a quite extensive clinic on polyrhythms, which is one of my specialties. And Matt said, you know, maybe you could do some of that stuff. And I said, yeah, I'll tell you what, why don't we break it down one step before and just go over some odd time meters and talk to people about how to play in different meters besides 4/4 and how to sort of make sense of it and that kind of thing. Just to give you a quick background about me for those who don't know me, I'm a full-time instructor at the Drummers Collective in New York City. I also am an instructor at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia, which is an amazing program, and at New School in New York City as well, besides all the gigs and things and stuff like that I'm doing. So I'm going to be talking quite a bit at first in like sort of teacher's mode. I will be playing you guys a lot, but a lot of it's going to be exercises for you to take home and study yourselves rather than just sort of watch me play, because that's boring. You see enough of that on YouTube and that sort of thing. So we're going to talk some things. By the way, I believe there is a chat going on, right, on YouTube. So if you guys have any questions or any comments, you can't hear anything, you have a question about what I said, repeat what I said, show what I said, show what I showed before, by all means, speak up. Let's let this be a two-way conversation, okay?
I'm still having trouble getting those PDFs up there.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, you're going to work out of the syncopation book and the new breed.
Yep.
Do we all have the syncopation book? There's a delay on that.
Okay. Yeah. I know. Yeah. There's probably a little bit of delay from us going to you guys. So just be aware of that. I'm going to be working out of page 38 of Syncopation and probably page 3A of New Breed by Gary Chester, which is page 18. If any of you guys have that, you could follow along. We had some PDFs, but we're having some problems getting them up. But I also have a whiteboard here, which I'm going to be writing quite a bit of stuff down on. And I have a good camera view, so I'll be able to kind of show you. And if I feel like it's not a good view, I'll get a little bit closer, okay? Yeah, and Matt has syncopation too. As a matter of fact, maybe what we could do is show it up to the camera when it's ready, not just quite yet, and I'll show you what this is all about. So one of my favorite topics is odd time meters, and those are the PDFs that were printed.
Yeah.
Oh, great! See, you're Matt's prepared. He's a good prepared man.
Thing on this computer's driving me crazy.
Matt's mad at his computer system today, so we want him to take a couple deep breaths. We might do some yoga during this. We'll see. We want to work out of some books, and I want to talk to you guys today about one of my favorite subjects, which is odd time meters. Now, I know that not all music is played in odd time meters, and the important thing is to be able to play a lot of concepts like technique and groove and feel in 4/4 first. All important, all great information. I give clinics on that stuff constantly, but I thought it'd be a little more fun today to kind of expand out a little bit. All right. Now, for some of those people who are watching that know a lot about odd meters, I'm going to start off slow. I'm going to start off a lot of writing and explanations and playing some easier things, and then we're going to start to expand into some crazier territory a little bit later. So if there's a certain point where I lose you guys, or if you want me to speed it up or that sort of thing, just let me know. Otherwise, we're going to kind of start from the beginning. All right. So,
William! Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
dude.
go ahead.
William, how are you? I've been trying to contact you. Okay, we'll talk later. I just had to say that to him. Jason, do your secretary.
Hi, William. He's trying to contact you. You'll talk later.
Very good.
Very good. All right. So I have this whiteboard here, and I want to write down a couple things so we can discuss this. One of the things that I often talk to people about with meters, when we're talking about meters, is for those who know the idea of time signature that comes at the beginning of a bar. What does a time signature mean? A lot of people say, well, 4/4 or common time means 4 quarter notes. Well, yeah, sort of. You're kind of right. It's not really explaining it as much as you possibly can. So one of the things that I talk about with meter work is answering 2 questions, and I hope everybody can see that. I'll actually make it a little bit closer like that. The top number and the bottom number, they definitely have definitions of what they mean. Okay, that looks good, Matt? All right, cool. So the top number means how many, and the bottom number means what kind or what rate of note. So when you say 4 quarter notes, you're not really wrong, but you're not really describing the whole entire fraction that you're getting here. All right? So we're talking about there are 4 beats to a measure, that's how many, and what kind means the quarter note is getting the pulse or the count or the rate. Great. 4 beats to a measure, quarter note's getting the pulse. That's the way to describe it. Now, people have a tendency to go, well, what happens when you go into different meters? What specifically happens after that? In fact, Matt and I were talking before about going from, say, 5/8 to 4/4 and what that involves, okay? So I'm actually going to give you an easier one at first, which is 4/4 to 7/8. Now, those who have known the is something wrong with the camera, or are we just confused? Every time Matt goes like this, I go, oh God, you know, what are we dealing with? So what we're talking about now is that it's pretty simple to some who've done this, especially with some songs, about going from, say, a bar of 4/4 to a bar of 7/8. What does that mean, and how is that done? All right? So there are 2 things that have to happen, guys. First thing is that going from 4 to 7, the count has to change. Literally just counting on your fingers from 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, of course. And the bottom, that's the real important one right there. That is the idea of the rate or the pulse, okay? And the rate doubles on that. So you're actually going from a pulse of 4/4 or quarter notes to a pulse of 8s, okay? So in this bar right here, you're going from a bar of 4 to 7/8, and it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, because of the syllables in numbers and music, you want to say se. You don't want to say 7. You say 7. You got you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you're back into 4/4, and you don't want to do that. All right. So the key is again that you're not just counting differently, but you're feeling differently. You're subdividing that second measure from a 1, 2, 3, 4 to a double 1, 2, 3, an 8th note subdivision. Okay. And that reflects on what you play, all right? And that as you play, yep.
Okay, let me get this back to you.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
If you were to play that,
yeah.
I don't know if this is going to put anything on the spot
Nope.
here. You're playing 7/8 to 4/4. Go back to 4/4 to 7/8 again.
Yep.
Do it a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're going to go from 4/4 to 7/8, and we're going to go through that cycle a few times just to make sure we got it. Okay?
The bass on the quarter note.
Exactly. 1, 2, ready, and... 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? That's the general idea of changing those around. Oh, I got a clap. I got that. We started off the hour great because I got an applause already. All right? It's going to get harder. All right. For those who are Led Zeppelin fans, there's a great song that a lot of people might know called The Ocean. And that's a perfect example of 4/4 to 7/8. Bum, bum, ba-na-na, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Okay? So you might want to try anytime you work on odd times, guys. You want to, and Matt brings up a good point. You want to go back and forth between 4/4 and 7/8. You always want to bring it back to the quarter note. You want to bring it back to grounding yourself in 4/4, and that's you have something to relate to. Sure, there are some songs that are constantly in 7 or 5 or 9 or that kind of thing, but you always want to have that internal pulse. So doing exercises like this are really, really important, where you state the bar of 4/4, really solidify where the quarter note is, and then go into the odd bar and come back again. Okay. Now, yeah. Matt's got a request here.
Well, I'm taking a lesson from him.
Ah, Matt's taking a lesson, so he's got some questions.
So you have 4/4.
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just played one measure of 4/4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to 7/8 now. There's only 7/8 notes instead
Right.
of 8. So doesn't the downbeat going to change to the next one?
Yeah.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2,
4,
3,
5.
4. Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to All right, that's good. I'm sorry.
No, never be sorry. And actually, I'm just so you, to let you guys know, I am fielding some questions from Matt as well because he's got a good direction on where to feel out where some of his students have gone with this stuff and maybe what questions they have. And again, guys, if you have any questions, please type it into the chat. Okay. Now, Matt just showed an example of keeping a quarter note pulse going through that, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. That starts getting into a whole category of polymetric work or polyrhythms, and that's the thing that I started to talk about when I first met Matt. It gets a little bit into a different subject matter, but I will touch on that. But he brings up a good point, is that when you do an exercise like this, you want to make sure to really reset the quarter note here after the bar that has one less eighth note, and we're going to talk about that. I'm going to write out some things there in a minute, okay? So if there are any questions, let me know. I'm going to write out something right now, and that will actually describe a little bit of what Matt was just talking about. No, we're okay so far.
Your hands are all red.
What's that?
Your hands red?
We're good. I'm used to having my hands red. Okay, what I'm going to do for you guys right now, we're going to talk a little bit about 7/8 in general, all right? And one of the things that I do for my students is that for students who come to me that want to study a multitude of odd time meters, what I try to do is I try to do 1 meter at a time. I try to work with them for maybe a week or 2 or 3, in 1 meter at a time. We'll start with 7, we'll eventually move to 9, we'll eventually move to 11, start getting into 16th meters. And that's some of the stuff you and I we're going to talk about during this hour. But I suggest to you guys, this is just a taste of how to go about this stuff, that to spend some time with 1 meter at a time. So we're going to first start with 7/8. Now, one of the first things with 7/8 to understand is that 7/8 has a variety of different breakups or subdivisions. Okay? Now, here are some simple subdivisions that a lot of people start with 7/8. All right? So now what we're talking about is the first one being 2 plus 2 plus 3. All right? So we're talking about 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's the most comparable breakup, especially in rock music or straight ahead music. We usually use that one. These are examples as well where the grouping of 3 goes now to the beginning of the meter. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then you got the bottom one where the 3 is now in the center. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And it all gives different feels to how these are broken up. That's the cool thing about odd meters, that you could break these up in so many different ways. Now, the key to breaking up the meters is the idea that I'm writing upside down here, sorry. Erase that. Okay, the idea that the grouping of 3 is what is creating the meter to change. Now, if anybody, you can zoom back for a second, Matt. If anybody studies any odd time meters, what you're talking about is the fact that these are a lot of groupings and rhythms that come from the Middle East and come from Northern Africa and that areas of the world. And if anybody knows anything about what music accompanied many, many years ago, it accompanied dance. So what would happen is, in dance moves, the dancers would be sort of emulating the music, or the music is emulating the dancers, and the points of where the male dancer would dip or spin the female dancer, that's where your grouping of 3 is, or the extra amount of time that it would take to do that. And that's why a lot of folkloric music is written in these other meters, 7s, 11s, that sort of thing, okay? So the breakups to meters are really important. When it comes to breaking, we're going to do this a little bit, it's fine. We're going to do this a little bit more later when I start talking about some fills and ways to go about this. But one of the things about breaking up odd time meters is where to put a fill and how to do that. So when you look at some of the 3s or the groupings at the end of the phrases, that's the place you want to start putting the 3s, like the fills, like 1, 2, 1, 2, da 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 da, 1, 2, 1, 2, da 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 da, that sort of thing. Yeah, and the grouping of 3 gives you that spot to do that. Okay. Now, thank you, Matt. Matt gave me a glove for erasing, and my hand will be less red now. Yes. Okay. So, now comes to the time for playing and exercises. So the first thing I want to put down is the fact that when you're playing in 7, and this goes back a little bit to what Matt had brought up before about the downbeat changing, because I think that's very important. I'm going to write out a basic rhythm in 4/4 for just 1 second. Now, I know I wrote 7/8 in the beginning of the time signature here, but let me just write this down in 4/4 and show you the direction that I'm going in with 7, and then we'll move to other meters. Now, for those who can see that, that is a standard groove in 4/4. It's pretty big, man. I think everybody could see it pretty well, so that's good. So that is a standard groove in 4/4. Now, I know I wrote 7/8 at the beginning of the time signature over here. So for those who want to know how to work in 7/8, this is the easiest way. And there's a word I talk about called conversion. I like taking things that are written 4/4 because it's easily digestible for us, and to convert it into different meters. So what's the easiest way to convert to 7/8? Well, for those who know 4/4, 4/4 is the same as 8/8. So what we do is we take off 1 note. This becomes a single 8th note, and there's your groove in 7/8. Now, Matt brought an excellent point up before, is where does the downbeat fall? It goes over the bar. Well, at first, before you do any sort of polyrhythmic work or anything like that, what you want to do is get used to playing in 7 and keep it grounded in 7. So if we start putting some accents.
Question, how do you count that?
Okay, yep, that's what we're going to talk about right now. Okay. There are a couple ways that you can count this. You can either count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can count it the way we were doing before, where I just broke it down, where you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Or you could do what I have written there. Now, what I have written there, oops, my 2 is a little out of whack here, so 2 would be here. What I have here is a breakdown of odd meters that I usually connect to 4/4. Your first 2 counts would be what it normally would be in 4/4, which are 2 quarter notes. 1, 2. And then your grouping of 3s at the end. So the way that I feel this most is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And that way you're grounding yourself more to a quarter note bass. And then it gives you this area right here to do some fills in, or to break the pattern a little bit, that sort of thing. Now let's go back to the pattern for a second. We have a basic doot, dot, doot, da, doot, dot, doot, da. For those who could read music very well, okay? I'll play it for you. Actually, I'll play it for you now, just so you understand it. So if this is your quarter note, these are your 8th notes. It would be, ready, and 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Simple enough. Okay. Now, but again, I bring up Matt's point before, is that how do you deal with the idea of the quarter note? Well, I put accents in here, which is usually sort of your natural part of playing, which is the whip stroke in the right hand. Some people refer to it as molar, or full stroke motion, and that sort of thing. And the idea is that these accents are falling on what would normally be the downbeats. Now, here's the kicker here, and this is what Matt was talking about. Being that these are in groupings of 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, if this continued, the next note of the bar would be an 8th note, but it would be a non-accented note. So the accent would flip. You'd have now the accent on the upstroke. And that's what we're going to talk about a little later. That is called a cross rhythm, or falls into the polymeter or polyrhythm sort of category. And then we're going to get into that a little bit later. But what we want to do to make sure that we're in 7 is we want to play 2 accents in a row there, just to make sure that our meter is solid. So we're going to go doot, dot, doot, da, doot, jot, doot, ja, doot. And we're going to make that pretty obvious so you really feel the meter in that case. And that sounds like this. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, that way we're strictly in the meter at that point. We're not flipping anything over. We're not bringing it over the bar, that sort of thing. And you're giving sort of a ground base to the meter you're working in, okay? Everybody following me so far? I know I'm talking a lot, but we're trying to get the concepts all squared away. Matt, anybody have any questions so far?
I'm asking, how do you count that? I was the only one.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
so that's for most of the stuff that you're going to start out from a basic standpoint, you're going to try to relate as much to 4/4 or the quarter note as possible. And the easiest way, what I'm going to talk to you guys about now, is the conversion process. And the conversion process is based on dropping an eighth note somewhere in the measure, usually at the end, and that's what we're going to speak about now. So because of that, most of the meter is already in 4, and then you're doing that grouping of 3 at the end. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Either way. Okay? Cool. All right. Now, for those who have the syncopation book,
Here's the file.
yeah, I'll grab these and
I
then you can
want
see
them
it.
too.
Yeah.
So I can put them on the camera.
So, those who would like to follow along and hopefully could read okay, I'm going to hold up some stuff here. We had a little bit of some issues with some files not being able to be converted and that sort of thing. But this right here is page 38. Looks good, Matt. Pull it back just a hair. Good. Perfect. Okay. This right here is page 38 of syncopation. All right. Now, in the book, if anyone's following along, there are quarter notes underneath the notes, okay? Now, I left the quarter notes out just because we're going to change some things around and we're going to convert this page over. Now, at the Drummers Collective and in lessons, what we want to do is we want to teach us from a standpoint of melody assignment.
Give them the page number so they can get it.
Yeah, I said the page 38. Yeah, yeah. So, a melody assignment, guys, is that anytime you have a book like Syncopation or Modern Reading Text by Louis Bellson or The New Breed, which I'm going to cover in a minute, or even Elements of Stick Control, you have a melody that's written into the book already. And you can assign that to any part of your body you want. Now, typically where we start, especially with groove stuff and on time meter, is that we assign it to our foot, our bass drum, all right? And we're going to start with the same ostinato or pattern in the hands that I did before here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just basically play a groove in 7/8 with my hands, okay? Dut, 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 and that will be with my hands. And I'm going to play all the notes from syncopation that you read or you're seeing on my bass drum. Now, would you mind holding that up again? Is that okay? Or
Hey.
yay!
Do we want a 7/8 or 4/4?
4/4, please. Okay. That is.
I'm taking the coffee break after this.
Yeah.
Move the camera.
That's okay. All right, hold it back a little further. Yep. Good. A little bit further, if you could. Okay, good. And if anybody's following along, I'm going to play that first line in my bass drum. Okay. So here we go. 1, 2. And by the way, this is in 4/4. This is just a hand pattern, and you're playing the bass drum part that you're reading. 1, 2, 3, go. And that's line 1 of syncopation, okay? Hopefully everybody understood that, all right? Now, the question is where do you go from there? Now, there's many pages on syncopation and in these other books that you want to basically try to pull that off with. You want to be able to play the whole page with playing it in your foot like that. It's good for your reading. It's good for working on technique, so on and so forth. But how do you translate it into 7/8? Okay, Matt, I could actually hold that up for a second because I want to show. If you wouldn't mind giving me that and the 7/8, please. Oh, I have it. Sorry, got it. I got it. Okay. So, if you hold up this melody again, guys. All right. Hopefully you can see that pretty well.
If not, I'll get up there.
Yeah. What we're gonna do? Actually, it's close enough. What we're gonna do? Actually, let's leave it like that because I like to put them side by side. So you can leave it where it is. It's fine. What we're going to do is, the key again is converting to 7/8, all right? So, this note here at the end of the bar is a quarter note. That would be your beat 4. So, in order to convert it, that beat turns into now an eighth note, because that's half of the quarter note, okay? This, at the end of this bar, at the end of bar 2, that eighth note gets dropped. And it gets dropped because it would normally be an 8/8, that's the last eighth of the measure, and we take it out. Same with this eighth note, gets dropped. This note here, this quarter note rest, because it's a quarter note normally in 4/4, becomes an eighth note rest because it's half the quarter note. So that entire line gets converted into 7/8. And the way it looks is like this. So those who want to zoom up their camera or take a look, you can compare. Here's line 1 in 4/4, here's line 1 in 7/8. Notice how in the end of the first bar, you got an eighth note instead of a quarter note. At the end of the second bar, you have a rest instead of an eighth note. At the end of the third bar, you have you have an eighth note instead of how does it look? Oh, I changed them into standard quarter notes. Yeah, I dropped the last eighth note of bar 2 and bar 3, and bar 4 is an eighth note rest rather than a quarter note rest. Okay.
Why don't you tell them that? I'm going to send them that after the lesson because this is being recorded.
Great idea. Okay, so Matt will send these to you guys after the lesson because I've given him the PDFs and it's real easy to look. Here's the one in 4/4. Here's the one in 7/8. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to play line 1. I'm going to do it nice and slow. Line 1 of syncopation in 4/4, and I'm going to follow it up in 7/8 so you have that melody in your head. Okay? So it's going to go one right after the other. Here it is in 4/4. Accents going continuous in 4/4, and then doing those 2 accents in a row in 7/8. Here we go. 1, 2, line 1, and. Again in 7/8. Here we go, and. See how that's converted over? Okay, you heard it originally in 4/4. Now you're hearing it at 7/8. I'm going to play it in 7 faster so you can hear it. Most, not all, but most of the 8 odd time meters, the 7, 8, 9, 8, are played a little bit faster because of the eighth note rate. So if we're about here, this is how syncopation, line 1, would sound in 7/8 faster. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now you can see how doing that on a repetitive basis is going to sort of internalize this groove more. One of the things I notice about my students is that it's not necessarily about teaching a single groove. It's not necessarily even about reading a melody constantly. It's about using a page like this to help you internalize the meter. And from here we could start soloing in the meter. We could start filling, we could start playing different grooves, we can enhance our grooves, add ghost notes. It's all about internalizing the bones structure of this by converting it from 4/4 to 7. Hopefully everybody understands that. Everybody good so far? Any questions? I think we're just kind of tuning in, so that's fine too, okay? All right, we're good?
Yeah, we're
Cool,
great.
we're great.
Anyway, we have, all right, never mind. I'll let that go.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do the same thing with another book, guys. And this other book, I must have sent you the wrong PDF because I don't have it in 7, but that's okay. But I'll show it to you. This is a book called The New Breed. Now, for me, The New Breed by Gary Chester is probably one of the most important books in the world of drumming, all right? I have found myself to be able to teach every style out of it. It's a melody book, but rather than being melody based around quarter notes and eighth notes the way syncopation is, it's based around quarter notes, eighth notes, and now partials of 16th notes. And that gives you an entirely different world of subdividing exercises in any limb. You could apply it to any style, so on and so forth. And just as we're talking about here, you can apply it to odd time meters. All right, now I'm going to hold this up. It's a little bit more of a difficult page or book. This is page 18 of New Breed. It's 3A, and as you can see, it's a little bit more difficult. And I'll tell you what, I could probably hold this up and play it on my foot.
I'll hold it.
It's okay, I can do it. I'm good.
Does everybody have the New Breed?
Yeah, New Breed.
What page is that?
18.
Page 18.
3A or 18, okay? Now, it's a busier melody because there's 16th notes. And what you have to do, I know some of you out there don't read very well, that's okay, but this is a really good place to start with this, okay? I will say there are some easier pages on New Breed, starting with like 2A, page 16. But this page is a little bit more, impressive with the odd time thing, okay? Now, I'm going to do the same thing with this as I did with syncopation. I'm going to take this melody, and I'm going to play it on my right foot, okay? So, here it is in 4/4. Hold it up. See if you can follow along, if this is your time or your pulse. 4/4, line 1 would sound like this if you follow along. 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4. 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a. Okay, so a lot of notes there. I'm not sure if everybody was able to really clearly do that well, but again, if you're following along with this, one thing you might want to do is take a quick screenshot with your computer and just put it aside, and you could follow along, and it's easier to do that because, again, we don't have those PDFs up, okay? Now, let's take a look at this page again. With the same rules that we just did with syncopation, we're going to do with new breed, all right? So because 7/8 is the same, or excuse me, because 4/4 is the same as 8/8, what we're going to do is we're going to release or take off the last 8th note of every bar. But if you notice, guys, there are also 16th notes in this. So everybody look at bar 1. If you look at bar 1, the last beat of bar 1 is the of 4. All right? Now, if you look at 4 16th notes and you take off 1 8th note, it takes up 2 16th notes, 1 E and a. So everything on this side of the 16th notes, 1 E, can be played if you're converting to 7/8. Everything on this side has to be taken out. So the and us are gone. So if you look at bar 1 of syncopation, of new breed, the last note of bar 1 is an That is gone. You can't play that. If you look at the last note of bar 2, that's an E of 4. You can play that because that's the second 16th note. That will be right next to the downbeat of 3, ba-boom, but it still works. Bar 3, look at the end of bar 3, that's an and of 4. Can't use that. Can't take it out. You got to take it out. And the last note of bar 4 is the of 4. Also can't use that. Take it out. So now I know I know you guys don't have this up. Hopefully maybe you took a screenshot or you're following along with the book. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play line 1 in 4/4 slowly so you can digest it with a normal standard 4/4 groove, and then I'm going to play it in 7/8 just like I did with syncopation.
That's
okay?
The new breed page what?
New breed, page 18, 3A,
4 people.
line 1 in 4/4 followed by 7/8. Hands are going to play the 8th notes. Foot's going to play the melody. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. In 7/8. Okay? Now, again, I know some of you out there are not great with your reading. I know that might take a long time to convert over. But take your time nice and slow. You can write it out. You can always transcribe it. But again, the idea of this is that if you are a good reader and you could do this, it really internalizes the meter. Okay? So, if we take it a little faster, and here's your 7. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right? If that's our pulse for 7, here's new breed. I'll play you the first 2 lines in 7/8, converted from 4/4. Here you go. Sorry. Okay? It's a lot of information there. I know it's really tricky, but boy, does this help internalize the idea of playing in 7 or playing in these odd time meters, okay? It's kind of a fun thing, right? For those who want to get into some more extensive playing in 7, there's obviously other styles you could do, playing Latin, playing jazz in 7, that sort of thing. One thing I usually suggest to people is to start working on more independence. So for instance, moving your right hand over to your ride, okay, and playing the same accented pattern here. And then playing something like 8th notes in your left foot. So line 1 of new breed, same page, with the left foot moving, would sound like this. 1, 2, ready, and. My bad. 1, 2. and then you start getting it with other, other parts of your body, basically, instead of just the three-way independence. And you can kind of go back and forth and make those work back and forth. Okay. Hope no one has any questions. I'll play a little bit in 7 so you guys can hear it for a little bit longer. Okay.
You have an admirer.
What's that?
You have an admirer.
I have an admirer.
Somebody's hitting on you.
Huh? Thank you.
I'm removing her.
What's his name? Okay, so I'll just play in 7 start off a little slower, a little simpler, and then move up. Okay, 1, 2, what you can do during that whole time as you're playing is you can internalize that boot, da, boot, da, boot, da, da, boot, da, boot, da, 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 that kind of thing. And that's what I'm doing that whole time is even if I'm going over the bar a little bit or whatever, still internalizing that whole thing we talked about.
There's a question.
We got a question.
Yeah, Jason, are you counting in your mind while playing?
It's an excellent question. Am I counting in my mind while playing?
Somewhere they are.
The best thing to do is kind of what I was talking about before. I don't know if I still have it written down, but even just the count thing down here is to use a little bit more subdividing. Okay, I'm not necessarily counting like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just too much. I'm trying to sort of internalize a little bit more. So what I am trying to do is like maybe doing this sort of thing of like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. In fact, everybody try to do that at home. That really helps. The 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And what that allows you to do, see, I could even talk over this. It's already internalized. What that allows you to do is choose parts of the measure that you want to be creative in. Okay? So this part of the measure here, the 1, 2, is your connection to 4, 4. It's your connection to the quarter note that still exists. Ba, ba. And then the grouping of 3 at the end is where the conversion of the meter falls over, okay? So what you can do if you're thinking about counting or playing through it a little bit more, if it's a little more busy, is maybe you take those 2 first quarter notes and you play something a little busier. But on the 1, 2, 3, it's simpler. So something like that. That allows you to get a little busier on the front part of the meter rather than the back part of the meter. How about the opposite? Easier on the front part of the meter, busier on the back part of the meter. So 1, 2, zaga daga daga 1, like a something crazy like that. And to me that's the replacement for counting. You're not really counting everything, you're subdividing them more. And then you really have to internalize and feel it, and no matter what's going on, that feeling is always there. Okay? So hopefully that makes some sense. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just got to say something to Paul.
Yeah.
That's subdividing, Paul. And that's what you're doing. You're subdividing. Mm-hmm. And I've taught them subdividing all right, anyway, that's really good, man. You're doing a good job. All you have is nothing but compliments.
Good. Excellent.
Would you guys like to know my opinion?
Matt's going to give his opinion. I'm afraid about it.
I'll just give Jason. He's working hard, man.
Thank you.
I'd just like to make a few announcements. The lesson, he's got a few more things he wants to go over, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I did say I'm going to give some giveaways away. I didn't take nobody's number. What I have to give away are PDFs from the Stick Control Book Formula and from the Joe Morello Master Studies Breakdown. Plus, we have one book we're going to give away that's Jason's book. You want to talk about your book, Jason?
Sure. Matter of fact, I can't get up and get it, but my book over there, Matt might be able to get it, is, for those who don't know, is called The Drummer's Bible. The Drummer's Bible was written back in 2003, and our second edition came out about 3 years ago or so. And it's a 240 or 230 page manual on every style that is available for the drummer. And it's more of a written sort of like an encyclopedia way. Thank you, Matt. So some of you may have seen this book already as I'm stepping on my microphone here. This is the Drummer's Bible. And please, it's available everywhere online, especially now that we're not in stores. But Amazon, I would suggest, is probably the best place. And if you look at the book, it's got everything from, say, I'm trying to get to it. Like, here's your chapter heading, something like Afro-Cuban. And then there's sub-chapters in here of different styles like clave and bolero and mambo and songo, and then you get to something like here's country music and so on and forth. 2 CDs that come with it. If the CDs don't work, I could send you the MP3s. The Kindle version is a little problematic with the MP3s, so just be aware of that. But please, thank you for anybody who has it, and please go out and support it, and Matt and I will be giving it away.
Yeah, well, what I'd like to say, you won't be getting that today. What I need from everybody here is to email me, and then we'll have a little raffle. But most of you are going to get the PDFs. Okay? Now, just a couple more things before he gets back. He's all tired and sweaty. His old age is showing. Okay. Friday, I started lessons on, what do you call it? Not YouTube. What's the other one?
Facebook.
No.
Instagram.
Zoom. I was in contact, first off, with Mike Clark. He will be doing one in January. I'm so tired I can't even talk. Oh, mercy.
Matt's been fighting with his cameras today, guys. You got to give him a break.
And anyway, Jason said he wants to get on board, and we don't know exactly what date he can do it. Probably tomorrow, but that's okay.
I'm sleeping over.
Anyway, we come up with a price for either Mike Clark or Jason, or also there's going to be Daniel Glass, there's going to be Rick Latham, John Berger, Carl Latham. I'm getting in touch with David Garibaldi, so you might be getting a lesson from them. I'm trying to house all these fantastic drummers that will shoot out to you live on YouTube, on Zoom, so you could ask questions and interact with them. And I think that's going to be, hopefully, I hope it takes off. I don't think $20 for a 2-hour session is too much. Jason wanted $80, but I had to get him down.
I'm greedy. I'm really greedy.
What do you guys think?
I think that's great.
I asked them, not you.
I still think it's great.
Okay. That's what I like to say. That's good. That's cool. On Zoom, guys, what do you guys think? I need some feedback on this. Anyway, Stacy, are you still there? Put my email in there, please. I'll put it in. Oh.
Matt's putting his email in, guys. Matt's got some great information, some great PDFs. I think it's very worthwhile to check out what he has as well. Reach out and he'll get it to you. And this is going to be a cool platform once he gets it going.
Fred Murphy likes the idea. G.W. Edwards. Yeah, we're going to be doing, Mr. GW, we will be doing that as well. Probably with Steve Foster. Also, Jeffrey Johnson. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's the author of The Level System. So you get a one-on-one, not one-on-one, but a group lesson, but you can talk to him. I just think that it's a good idea, and I want to house all these great drummers. I mean, I'm not talking like, not the dead people, but like, you know.
That would be interesting if
Yeah,
you
that
can,
would
like,
be it. Well,
yeah,
they
open the
voted
door.
with the dead.
Matt has a way of opening the door to the afterlife. It's very impressive.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, what we're going to do it is there are going to be times that it's going to be suitable for everybody, Fred. You know, I might do one at 1 o'clock and do another one at, say, 7 o'clock. Let's see what the response is, and we gotta help the people in Europe and Canada and California and South America as well. But we will do that. At 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is cool too. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, enough of me. Let's get back to, what's your name again?
Frank.
Frank.
Yeah.
Jason. Beautiful guy, man. Thanks. All right, Jason.
No, that was good announcements. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. So I'll go a little bit longer and talk about a couple more meters. One thing I'll say real quick is that I am regularly teaching on Zoom these days. Certainly more and more because of the pandemic. I don't know what's going to happen after the pandemic as far as if schools will continue to be in session as often as they were. But I will tell you that the Zoom platform has not only increased during this time, but really improved as well. And it's become actually kind of a joy to teach online. It's been a lot easier. So I'll give you some information at the end of how to get a hold of me. I think Matt will as well, but I'll do it verbally, and we could talk that way as well. So expanding out meters. As you know, there's bands and music and so on and so forth that use more than just 7, use more than just 4, start getting into the 9s and 11s and things like that. So I'll talk about that a little bit. Now, if you were to, I just threw my pen over there, but that's okay. If you were to take this bag out again with your 7/8, and I was going to say to you, hey guys, well, let's convert now into 9/8. Well, if 7/8 is 1 less 8th note in the bar, well, 9/8 is going to be 1 greater 8th note in the bar. And the good thing about 9/8 is you can complete the bar of 4/4. You could look on the page and complete the bar of 4/4, play everything that's there, but then just add an 8th note. So you can now play like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1. Or if it's related to this count that's down here, in 7/8, if you guys remember, it was 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. In 9/8, you're going to add another quarter note of count. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Matt's got a question.
No, I have a question. I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Okay. Take Gary Shafee. I think it's time. I don't know, one of time and
patterns
needed
or something like
yeah,
that?
one of these pattern series. He comes up with that linear phrasing like that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
Right.
1. And that's a good way to get to understanding that a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, the time pattern page books are great because they talk a lot about the subdividing stuff that Matt and I were talking about before. One thing about 9 is that oftentimes 9 is in a kind of a category of all of its own, guys, because of the fact that 9 splits into 3 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'll show you an example of something that's cool with that if you guys want to try this. So here's a straight pattern in 9/8, the way that I would count it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, so that's sort of the normal 9/8 connected to the quarter note, as I was talking about. The way that Matt started to count it before, which is another way of counting in 9/8, is 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. If you put those two feels together, you get this very polyrhythmic feel. So in my bass drum and my snare drum, I'll play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. and in my right hand I'll play. Now, it's still the same meter, but you'll hear them kind of fall against each other. Listen, 2, ready, A little faster. Okay? It's a really neat pattern to do that, all right? Now, with the syncopation and new breed, you could do the same type of thing, guys. You can add to the melody lines. So here's syncopation in 4/4, line 1, and then I'll play it in 9/8 where I add an 8th note to it, okay? 4/4 first, 9/8 second. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Same with new breed. Here's new breed in 4/4. Then we add an 8th note to every new breed bar. Here we go. 4/4 first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9/8. Okay? Really presents for some interesting things there, all right? One of the things that you can get up to doing, guys, also is combining your meters. So, for instance, play a line of new breed in 7, play a line of new breed in 9. And that way you start internalizing how these meters change. So I'll play that for you. Here's new breed in 7 and new breed in 9 a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 7. It's very interesting the way that sort of kind of turns your brain around, and I always talk about with students the idea of like resetting their counter. That when you get to the beginning of the bar, if you're going to change meters, boom, your bar's reset, you ground yourself, and you really feel that. You have a question?
No.
Oh, I thought you had a question. I saw you move. Matt moved, thought he had a question.
We're
Okay.
negotiating price here.
Okay, for me or Matt?
Listen, that would be a really great idea. You know, everybody thinks that because they study with one person in particular, it's not too cool to get another teacher. Well, you're not getting another teacher. All you're doing is getting the same teacher with a different approach. It's simple. So feel free to, like, Jason, I'll send you the link to Jason's Facebook if he wants to allow you to have his email or whatever it might be. Then you could probably sign up for one-on-one lessons, which would be good for you. He has the same kind of setup on Zoom. You have it'd be one-on-one. You on the right side, him on the left side, him with his drum set. Okay? So we'll just clarify that. All right, we're about to wrap it up because, you know, unless you can keep going on all day, huh, Jay? Well,
I don't want to give everything away. There's lots of secrets.
It's up to you. I mean, if you want to close it up, we can close it up. We had a total of 18 people when I blocked the other one. And there's you, me, and plus 16 here. That's a pretty good number.
It's a good number. Thank you, everybody.
And this is going to be recorded. Mm-hmm. And everybody, this is being recorded. And please, everyone, email me. I'll send you the 3 or 4 PDFs that I have. And tomorrow I'm doing a Facebook lesson, a Zoom lesson at 1 p.m. Okay, and then at 7 p.m. I'm doing a Facebook lesson. So any questions you want me to address, if I can help, I will. Thank you, Jason. Oh, donations are accepted.
Real quickly, Matt will probably put my information in, but just I'll tell you verbally. I'm at that 5,000 friend mark with Facebook. Although you can reach me, you can send me a separate message. But my email, it's real easy to reach me. It's just jason@drummersbible.com. Take out the, okay? So all lowercase, jason@drummersbible.com. Real simple. I'd love to hook up with any of you via Zoom. That's kind of what we're doing nowadays, Matt included. So Whatever you guys could do to kind of keep the love going for this instrument and to keep that avenue and those doorways open during this really crazy time we're in would be great. And I appreciate the support for everybody out there, and good luck to all of you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, guys.
I hope everybody had a good time. Paul, did you have a good time?
Paul, did you have a good time?
He gave him your email. Hey, Paul, Jason at what?
Jason at drummersbible.com. All one word, all lowercase.
There you go. Put a couple commas in here so you get it sent back to you. Anyway, that's a great idea, Give him a holler. Take a lesson with him or 2 or 10. It's not like one guy. I got a lot of negative comments from one guy Friday. We had an argument that the stick control book that I do, when I do things on stick control, it's becoming very thin. I mean, how's it that thin? It doesn't stop. It keeps growing. Everything he played today, I could show you how that is done on
stick control.
Stick control.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the Bible. And he's got another book, the Bible, which is a fantastic book. Not because he's sitting here and I'm telling you this. It's because when I'm not sure of something, or somebody throws out some sort of Afro-Cuban rhythm, I don't know what that is, I hit that book. And it's surfacely, not in depth, but he takes you to the direction you should be going to.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
That's all right. You're going to give me the commission later.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know. I told you I owe you that kidney.
Okay, guys. Tomorrow's lesson, if you want to come after this lesson, is on Zoom, 1 p.m. Okay?
Have a good Sunday, guys. Happy football.
Thank you, Jason.
Go Giants.
And William, tomorrow at 11 o'clock on Zoom. Okay, guys, we're going to sign off. And Jason's not going to see us, so have a Merry Christmas, I guess.
Merry Christmas, guys. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah.